Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Welcome to this How to Protect Your Energy webinar. Thank you so much again for being here. And today we're going to be going into some of my best secrets for how to protect your energy, which is such an important thing that we never really talk about, at least in the healing community that I come from. It's not something that we spend too much time focusing on, but I found that just putting your focus on how to protect your energy can really help you step into your power in the next level and essentially just really help you feel more centered and grounded. So let's get started here. So, are you tired of feeling drained by certain people in your life? Maybe you have a friend or a family member who's just always pulling you into their drama and negativity. Or maybe you have a client or a coworker who just seems to drain the life out of you after every interaction, leaving you feeling tired and heavy and irritated. So, does anyone here know anyone like that? Has anyone ever had that experience? I know that I have. There's different people, in my family or people that I've worked with that you just can't get away from. They're going to be around you no matter what, but they seem to have an energy that pulls at you or leaves you not feeling so good. Janira says yes. Jonathan says definitely. Yeah, because I mean, let's get real. Lisa says very much so. These people are real, they exist, and they're everywhere, and we can't really avoid them. And so we have to find a way to be able to move through social circumstances while feeling empowered and protecting our energy. So that's what this presentation is essentially all about. So I'm wondering, is there anyone here who is tired of struggling with depression or anxiety, or maybe feels overwhelmed from all the pain and suffering that's happening in the world? Because if you're empathic, you might find yourself feeling everyone else's stuff. So I'm really serious. Is there anyone here who feels like they're processing so much energy and intense feelings that you know that it couldn't all possibly be yours? Because, I'm guessing if you're on this webinar that you are empathic and you probably feel a lot of people's stuff, and that can feel really overwhelming. And Janira says, overwhelmed sometimes. Lisa says all the time. Yeah, yeah. And so you know that even without being fully aware of it, you might actually be taking on emotions and energy from other people around you. I mean, that can go for the homeless guy on the street, or maybe it's a stressed out neighbor. I have a friend who has a neighbor who keeps banging on her floor every time she's just walking around in her new apartment. And she feels this negativity that sort of comes over her that she feels couldn't possibly be hers. And like I said, the if you're sensitive and you genuinely care about people, then it can be even easier to absorb their worries and burdens without even knowing it. And sometimes that's a lot of weight that we're carrying that's not even our own. William says the whole. Jonathan says depressing more so, but I can feel the energy from others. Yeah, yeah. So, give me a guess if that resonates with you. It looks like it's already beginning to resonate with some of you on this presentation today, because this is real stuff that we're talking about. So my last pop question to you is, are you tired of struggling to stay positive and uplift others only to feel bogged down and exhausted? I mean, maybe you're working really hard on yourself to stay optimistic, but then everyone around you seems to notice this and take advantage of your kindness and just dump their negativity on you. Jonathan says yes. Has this happened to anyone here? I know that's happened to me before, and a lot of clients that I have just come in like, oh, I'm trying so hard to be positive, but people just, see that and blah, that's all the energy that they dump. Jonathan gives us a big yes. Janira says, yep. Yeah. So Janira says frustrating. Yeah, it is frustrating, especially when you're doing that work on yourself and you really want to stay in a more positive vibration. William says, it's okay. That's my job in my life. But life can get better, William, when you have these tools, which I'm going to be talking about today. So I want to know, what would it feel like if you could feel free of all of this energetic heavy weight that you've been carrying around for everyone else? What if you could feel lighter and cleaner and free to fully be you and shine your amazing light without feeling overwhelmed with everyone else's stuff? Yeah, what would that be like? Lisa says, I do work very hard for myself, and I'm positive I find it easier to spot those folks that are wanting to take it from me. Yeah, Lisa. Yeah, it's good because once you start to identify these energy vampires, as we're going to call them, it becomes a little bit easier to sort of know how to protect our energy, or when a good time to put some extra protection on is. So thank you for sharing that, Lisa. So I'm wondering, is anyone here, do you dream of feeling grounded and centered and connected to an infinite supply of your powerful energy? And do you want to learn how to master your connection to yourself and tap into your unique and infinite power supply so that you don't have to be giving away your own stores of power? And, I'd love to hear from you if this is something that you would like to learn how to tap into. And this is a question that so many of my clients will ask me. And a lot of psychotherapists ask me, I found that they'll ask, do you feel drained after you work with clients all day? And the answer always surprises them because it's a big no. I actually feel more empowered, more energized. I mean, people who see me after I'm done work, I'm just glowing because I'm connecting to this infinite source of energy and not allowing any of the negative cords or any of the negative energies essentially get into my field. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit more about how you can connect into those own stores of energy so that you don't feel drained no matter who you're dealing with. Janera says, I like the sound of that. I do too. Thanks, Janera. Yeah, you're in the right place. And I want to ask, do you dream of feeling so secure in your power that no matter what crazy chaotic energy happens around you, you feel unaffected, positive, and free to be yourself and shine your light even brighter? And Soul says, yes, need that. Yeah, so give me a big yes in the chat box if you want to be so secure in your power that you really just are unaffected by the crazy that goes around you. Because, in the next hour, we're going to learn one of my favorite techniques for clearing your energy centers, otherwise known as your chakras, that can tend to get clogged up with other people's junk. Then I'm going to teach you how to keep these centers clear and protected so that you can go back out into the world and feel impenetrable and go into any situation and maintain this sense of inner peace. Does that sound good to all of you today? Jonathan says, I'm hoping to be able to not feel so drained after trying to help whoever's around me. I'm hoping to strengthen my power. Well, Jonathan, you are in the right place. So thank you for being here. And as a thank you for sticking around to the end of the presentation, I have a bonus offer for you. There's this surprise that I'm going to be sharing at the end. It's not really a surprise if I'm telling you it's a space clearing, but if you stick around to the end, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about this bonus offer that I have for you. And in the meantime, I just want to make sure that you have all of your distractions turned off. So if you have your phone, just put it on silent. And if you have a gaming console or if you have a million different tabs open, like I usually do, close them down because it will slow down this presentation. And there's something about being present to really receive the information that's coming through, and also the exercises that we're going to be doing that's going to be so priceless. So I really just want to make sure that you're fully here. And if you notice that there's any glitchiness that's happening with this presentation, that happens. So just refresh your screen and it should take care of any kind of glitches that are happening. So before I get into the presentation, Soul says, yes, second one, Jonathan says, I have several. So thank you, Soul. Thank you, Jonathan. So, before I get into it, I just want to share a little bit about who I am and what qualifies me to teach about energetic protection in the first place. So let me introduce myself. I'm Kristen Boyer, and I've spent the last 7 years bridging together ancient shamanic healing practices from indigenous cultures around the world with psychotherapeutic techniques in my private practice. My background and training have been in psychology. I have my master's in creative arts therapies, holistic nutrition counseling, and have trained with shamanic teachers in indigenous societies in North and South America. And that's helped to lay a powerful foundation for me to empower those who have suffered from trauma to get the lost parts of themselves back. But, life wasn't always so positive and easy. And I first really developed a passion for helping the disempowered while I was growing up with sexual trauma in my own life and in a shaming, rigid, fundamentalist Christian family. And after my ex-husband abruptly emptied our bank account, or I should say my bank account, and disappeared, I started to see that there was a pattern of trauma and a loss of personal power in my life and where it was all beginning to leave me. And something that I found really compelling about the collective therapies that I had been offering with all of my psychology training, through talk therapy. I worked with a chemical dependency outpatient psych unit at Bellevue Hospital, doing art and movement therapies and working with clients with sexual trauma, is that they all seem to be stuck in the same patterns from these past traumas. And we talk about these experiences that had left them feeling damaged, and they draw images of their pain, and they'd act it out with me in these psychodrama sessions. But something always seemed to leave them blocked from fully regaining their power. And often they knew exactly what was missing, but they still had no means of reclaiming and utilizing this lost power. And then, of course, I went through my own dark night of the soul, which gave me a more complex and deeper understanding, which happened during this severely dysfunctional relationship with my sociopathic ex-husband. And I began to feel like throughout this entire relationship that positive parts of me were slowly chipping away and leaving. And then when my ex-husband finally blew through my life savings and abruptly left the country immediately after, it felt like this happy, trusting, and awesome part of my personality just poof, vanished. It disappeared. And I was left feeling heartbroken and utterly devastated. But I realize now in retrospect that this was actually one of the biggest life blessings in disguise, because it turned out to be the exact catalyst that started me on my shamanic initiation to find my power and reclaim these lost parts of my soul. And I'll tell you, sometimes it really does take losing everything you have, whether that be your spouse, your money, your home, your family, to wake you up to what truly matters in life. And that's exactly what happened to me. And as soon as my life crumbled and fell away, this new path, this shamanic path, which I had really never heard of before, began to emerge. And my life just took this completely different turn than I ever would have expected had this trauma never happened. And that's when I began to learn about shamanism, and the messages about shamanism and soul retrieval were everywhere. And this ancient indigenous healing practice that our ancestors used, where there's this concept of soul loss. And it's believed that if you've gone through trauma, that part of your soul does actually leave your body, leaving you feeling empty and incomplete. But through the practice of soul retrieval, you can get these pieces of your soul back. And I was able to heal myself through soul retrieval from these traumas that had previously enslaved me. And I began to regain my power and my joy and the essence of who I was before the trauma changed me. And then I began to integrate soul retrieval into my holistic healing practice with clients and saw their lives change both powerfully and rapidly. And something I also learned from these indigenous tools is that indigenous people had ways of clearing out negative energies that accumulate from trauma, and ways of protecting our energy so that people cannot drain your power like my ex-husband had done with me. And so Engineer says, I can relate to that soul. Soul says, friends that seem to always be in a bad space, and an empath, it's hard to deal with. Yeah, that's all really hard to deal with. I'm going to be getting into that today. But first, I want to share something that not many people know about me, is that I spent some time studying with the Shipibo people, a Peruvian tribe of shamans in the Amazon jungle back in 2015 in a remote village off the grid. And this isn't really a fun fact, but it's a true one. It felt really appropriate for what I'm sharing today, is that I was opened up so much energetically by plant medicines that the shamans served me to clear out this chronic illness and the physical parasites that had come into me from this, dysfunctional relationship and, years of trauma. That when I was integrating these healings, a woman on the retreat who was really angry about some drama that had happened between her and me and another romantic partner of mine at the time, this woman put a huge curse on me. And because I was so wide open at the time after the clearing, this curse literally went right down into each of my cells because of how open I was. And this curse took years to unravel. In fact, shamans ended up flying from the jungle to help me, and many healers tried to lift the curse, but nobody could until I learned how to clear it out myself. And this experience taught me so many valuable lessons about healing my weak spots, and it helped me to move into my strength. That is one of the reasons that I am here today, inspired to teach you about energetic protection. And really, it's because no one ever gave me tools or addressed this topic of energetic protection in all of my training. And it's literally one of the most important lessons that I ever had to learn. So I'm here to empower you, to teach you how you can heal and clear your own energy so that you can also tap into that powerful energy master that you already are. But of course, you can't do that if you're running on empty and if you have energy vampires around you that are just pulling your energy all the time. So I'm here to help you get your power back and protect your light so that you can be positively in your power and bring your highest vibe to the world. Because I know a lot of you on this presentation, I know that you are all bright shining lights. So, it's all about protecting that. So moving into that vision, I want you to take a moment to literally just imagine what your life would be like if you knew how to be strong and fully protected in your power. So if you could just take a moment to just close your eyes and daydream for a moment. And I want you to just think of what that image would look like if you were so protected and grounded in your power. So just take a deep breath into that vision and see how it unfolds in your mind's eye. Maybe that means that you're headed into work or into a meeting with a friend or a coworker who typically drains the life out of you. And you can imagine being in that chaotic, potentially draining situation, but this time maybe you feel grounded and secure and impenetrable in your power. Now, how does your energy feel in that vision? How does it feel to be in your body? And I'd invite you, if you have any visions that you'd like to share, maybe a word or two that comes up during this little meditation, please share it in the chat box. I know that the vision that I often have when I think of this is like I'm in this bubble of really positive energy, and it's like all these things are going on around me, but I feel very grounded and just tapped into source or tapped into the earth. And so it feels like everything that's going on around just has no effect on me whatsoever. Yeah, Janira says she has more energy and more joy and less resentful. I like that, Janira. Thank you. Yeah, is there anyone else that wants to share their vision of what that feels like to be fully protected and grounded in their power? Yeah, savor that meditation while you can. And I really invite you to keep this vision with you as we go through this presentation, because this is a really nice anchoring point to imagine what your life could be like and how much more energy and joy you would have if you were able to really maintain this level of energetic high vibe frequency. So unless Jonathan says I feel connected to others, but not so constrained. I like that. Almost like feeling expansive. And Lisa says standing, looking out at the ocean, feeling the breeze, feeling my feet on the ground and my heart open. Yes. Ooh, that's really nice, Lisa. I like that vision. Standing at the ocean, that'd be great right now. I'm going to take some of that vision with me. I'm going to share that vision with you. So I just wanted to say congratulations for being here today, because you are really taking the first step in learning how to clear and protect your energy from those proverbial vampires out there without feeling overwhelmed and lost in the energetic struggle. So, many of us do encounter barriers to achieving success in this area, and it's likely that those struggles are related to 3 myths that we tend to think are true without even realizing it. So I'm here to do a little bit of myth busting today to allow you to step a little bit more fully into your power. And knowledge is power, right? So let's just dive in and get started with those myths. So just a little overview about what those myths are today. Myth number 1 is your soul's energy is complete and completely with you all the time. Myth number 2 is that sharing cords of energy with others helps us to maintain a positive, loving connection. And myth number 3 is opening your energy through meditation helps you to serve others. So I have a big smile on my face because I'm so excited to bust these myths today, because a lot of people believe them, and I'm gonna bring a little bit of light into some of these myths. So starting with myth number 1 is that your soul's energy is complete and completely with you all the time. And while most people believe that our human soul is complete and whole, I'm here to tell you that in a perfect world, like maybe that is true, but I guarantee that for 99.9 of you and people out there in general, that's just simply not the case. So, why is that not true, right? It's not true. And that is because the truth is that we actually learn very early on in life how to give away and how to take other people's energy, which is a little bit scary to think about, right? It's like taking your heart out and giving it to someone else. I mean, that's really a thing. And I'm going to go into the reasons why. So, this is a fact. And this is something that I learned from my shamanic training with a number of different teachers. And in every culture, it's seen in a different way. And I learned that people can actually steal your energy. And as a result, they're taking pieces of your soul, which leave you feeling open and vulnerable and overwhelmed to other people's negative energy. And they learned that this technique has a name, and it's called energy stealing or soul stealing, and that shamans in indigenous communities would actually steal energy from chiefs in neighboring communities as a way to weaken their souls so that they're so vulnerable to disease and attack that they can be simply very easily overcome. And because when someone does take a part of your energy, it creates a void in your energetic field that leaves you open to absorbing negativity, sickness, depression, anxiety, and really a myriad of other unwanted vibes that keep you weighed down from feeling free and empowered to be your best. And I learned that in the Shipibo culture, they actually talk about this more as, because they work so much with the plants, they would talk about this as someone stealing your diet. So working with a sacred plant in the jungle, it gives you wisdom. And as you're working with it, it strengthens your aura, strengthens your energy field and your body. And that shamans would see how light you were and be like, oh, I don't recognize that plant that person's worked with. And they would steal that person's soul specifically related to the plants that they were working with. And the shaman said, if someone steals your diet, you can die or you'll be in the hospital. You have to come back here and it will take months to years to regain your energy. And so it was taken very seriously in some of these shamanic cultures because it was seen as a very real thing. And so stepping into reason number two, and of course I had to pick the most gruesome pictures because it illustrates a point of, how we can give some of our energy and pieces away. I learned that not only do shamans do this to weaken their opponents and to, steal their other people's plant diets, we do this in today's age using the same energetically sapping techniques without even knowing it. And we tend to learn this really early on in life. And we especially do this when we're feeling jealous of someone or if we want what they have. And I've seen siblings do this to one another, which is really common. And it's because they don't want to share their parents' affection and attention. And I've even seen this with a couple different clients where their mother stole their energy when they were kids because their mother felt drained from, early motherhood and empty. So she took an energetic piece of her child's spirit as a way to feel younger and brighter. And, having to have these clients who come into my office who've gone through breakups where they feel like their ex actually stole some of their energy because they didn't want to let them go. And, just the fact that I see this so frequently in my healing practice is proof that energy vampires do exist all around us. And again, most of us aren't even conscious of the fact that we're stealing other people's energy. And this almost always comes down to the fact that everyone's had some kind of trauma or soul loss that leaves them feeling open and energetically hungry to fill that void with whatever they can. And sometimes it gets filled with your energy. And Janira says that resonates deeply. I had this with my mom. Yes, no, it really happens. And it's something that we just, I'm starting that dialogue today with all of you. So thank you. And, I'd love to hear from anyone else in the chat box. Is there anyone else who has had this experience? And maybe it wasn't with your mom, but it was a friend or a loved one, or maybe even someone that was like jealous of you in high school. Because, it does sound kind of crazy, but I'm sure if you think about it, you can picture a client or maybe a family member or someone that who does this. Even if you've not seen it happen directly to you, you can sort of spot these energy vampires that kind of leech on, hook on, and start taking other people's energy. And you usually know that this is happening when you're spending time with them, and then you feel bogged down. You start to feel a lot of their energy, and you also start to feel like the life force from you is drained. Like maybe you're in a really positive, uplifted mood, and as soon as you're done, you just you have to go lay down and rest. Jonathan says definitely in past friendships. Yeah. So this is all very real. And so, Lisa says, oh, yes, I had this with a close friend and I had to distance myself from. I have even had this from my partner's ex who has never met me. Yes, people can literally drain your energy from not even meeting you. And it's a very real thing. And again, the more energetically sensitive you are, the more you can usually feel this. But it doesn't just happen to people who are empathic and energetically sensitive. And that's a little bit more hard for them or difficult for them to discern. But this stuff happens no matter how in tune to it you are. So, as we have just busted myth number 1, because soul stealing is a real thing and people can take your energy if you're willing to give it, which is a whole nother story that I'm not going to get into. But we are now going to move on to myth number 2, which is sharing cords of energy with others tends to help us maintain a positive connection. And most people believe that sharing cords with people is good and that it helps them stay connected to their loved ones in a good way. But I am here to tell you that that's actually not true. And, the reason behind that is that, the truth is that sharing cords between yourself and others actually keeps you energetically linked up to them. And that creates a passageway for them to easily pull on your energy. Right? So let's think of it this way. I want you to imagine all the people that you're connected to that you offer support to. Right? Maybe one of them's a really good friend who's just gone through a hard breakup. Or maybe one of them is a sick family member and another one's like a needy coworker or a client in your practice. And I want you to imagine that once you connect with them to help them, you tie a rope from them to you. And now I want you to imagine all the ropes that you connect to and tie to all the people that you helped yesterday, or maybe you helped this weekend, or, in the past week. And now I want you to think about who you've helped, in the past month. And now I want you to imagine all those ropes connected to the people that you have helped over your entire lifetime. So I want you to imagine that every time a person that you've helped feels pain and suffering, and every time they feel like, they need a little bit of support, they begin to energetically pull at your rope. Now, can you begin to see how all those ropes attached to you can start pulling you in different directions? Engineer says, oh, this picture explains so much already. Yep. It sure does. And even just putting a vision to it sometimes makes it a little bit more clear about like, oh, maybe that's not the best thing ever. So, I want to just check in with you as you begin to like see this picture in your mind's eye of all these people that you're connected to. And I want to see, where are you at in this? Are you grounded or are you ungrounded? Are you taking care of your own needs as much as you're helping others? Now, with those questions asked, can you see how these forces pulling at your energy can start to drain you and leave you feeling powerless to actually really meet their energetic needs? It becomes kind of like a scary image, right? Yeah. So, and that debunks myth number 2, because the truth is that sharing cords between yourself and others actually keeps you energetically linked to them. And this creates a passageway for them to easily pull on your energy. Engineer says, connected to way too many people and helping others more than myself. Yeah. And William says, sometimes it takes a chainsaw when the samurai sword to cut cords is not enough. Yeah, that's true. Especially because some people want to continue to reattach. And when they feel us disconnect those cords, like, hey, wait, I want to be connected again. And they reach out and they reconnect those cords. And Jonathan says, too true. I felt so many hooks from friends and coworkers. Yeah, especially when people begin to see their light and they're like, oh, I want help from Jonathan. Oh, I want help from Janira. So, this is really truth. So, as we've just debunked that one, we're going to move on to myth number 3, which is that opening your energy through meditation helps you to serve others. And most people believe that if they meditate to open up their energy before helping others, that they will be more supportive and, there to support others in the better way. But I am here to tell you that that's not true either. And the reason being is that, while yes, when we open ourselves up through meditation, we have the ability to open our energy to source and to the creator and to the divine magic of the universe. And while this is a really good transformative thing that can be helpful as a personal practice, if we aren't taking extra steps to also protect and guard our energy, we find that we open ourselves up to even more energetic attack and those opportunistic energy vampires. Right? So, that's a pretty scary image there. And I wanted to explain it in a different way. And this is the image, if you can't tell. Sometimes the internet pictures aren't always the best, but if you could ever imagine going out on your porch in a beautiful summer's evening and seeing a light that's turned on and noticing that there's so many moths that just flock to that light and sometimes cover it and make the light a little bit more dim. And has anyone ever seen that, in the summertime? And to relate that to our energy, this is because when you do open up your energy and you give yourself an energetic tune up, so to speak, you allow more light and pure energy to move through your system, which helps you to raise your energetic vibration. And yes, while this is really a good thing, it can also draw a lot of attention from people who notice how bright and shiny your energy is becoming, who might want to steal it instead of doing their own work to create that high vibration for themselves. Right? Jonathan says, yes. William says, this is a very important point. Yeah, because when you do that work on yourself, you do get brighter and people do know this. Janira says, I feel like that light lately and guilty because I want to give time and energy to people, but I can't manage it. It's so draining. And that's true. It's like you have that brighter light in you and you're ready to shine it even brighter, but then it becomes very draining very quickly because everyone comes to you for support. And of course, you want to be, we're all empaths here, right? We all want to be supportive to other people in need. But I want to sort of change the way that we look at that for just a moment, because I really can't tell you how many times I've had clients who are beginning to open up their energy through journeying and meditation, who began to feel even more pressure from the outside world to test their energy. And I like to think of this as an energetic test that the universe wants to see how responsible you'll be with your new light and your new energetic vibe. So, could you imagine making $1 million and then just putting the cash out in plain sight wherever you went? Like on the subway, just like, oh, unattended. I'll take a little nap here with this like bag of open cash, or like sleeping in a hostel, like, sharing your room with people and just like having a bunch of dollar bills out, just trusting that like, oh, it'll be fine, and the answer is really no, you wouldn't do that. You'd probably put it in a safe place and you wouldn't just put your guard down, or it might get stolen, or at least get a lot of attention that you probably weren't really looking for. And the same does go for our energy. When you're bright and shiny, it shows and everyone begins to know this. And that truly is a good thing. But you do want to make sure that you're also protecting your energy so that people don't begin to take advantage of it. Right. And so, again, I like these scary pictures because they illustrate real points that, we don't always talk about. But I'm going to give you another example because earlier I did talk about some of the difficult lessons that I had in the Amazon jungle and when I had that curse put on me and I was just so incredibly open and no one was like, Kristen, you should close your chakras or you should protect your energy. That just wasn't even a conversation. And, after I left the jungle and it was so nice, we finally went to a hostel in Iquitos and I had a bed to sleep in for the first time in several weeks. And, the girl I was sharing the room with went downstairs to read a book because I was just ready to go to bed. And I found that literally, that first night sleeping in this hostel, my energy was so open that I was literally drawing in hungry ghosts from the city as I slept. And I had a spirit of this deceased Peruvian man jump into my body while I was sleeping because he saw how much light and joy I had in me. And the truth was that I had a lot of clearings in my heart. I was doing a lot of work around clearing out energies from old partnerships and, making my heart more open for the partnership that I was returning, back to the States with. And literally the spirit came because it saw my heart and it was so bright and open and ready to love that the spirit jumped into it. Yeah, and Jonathan says protecting the value of your own energy. Janera says terrifying. Oh my goodness, it was. And I'm really glad that I didn't just go into that experience and ignore it. Part of me, this like really low vibe that was totally this energy was like, oh, I something happens. It feels like there's something in my solar plexus. I should just go back to sleep and ignore it. It'll just go away. But I also knew like, oh, I'm pretty sure something just came into me because I was at the moment I was having a dream that there was this negative energy and it literally like drove its hand into my chest and then like jumped in. And I woke up with night paralysis. And if anyone here has ever had night paralysis, that actually happens when spirits come into your body while you're trying to sleep. And that can induce nightmares for a period of time. People can have really negative effects or experiences while they're sleeping, and that can oftentimes be because there's negative energies that are coming into you while you sleep. And again, no one really seemed to talk about this in the communities that I had studied in, so I found this really, really important to talk about today because I did learn with the help of my guides how to remove this negative energy. And this is something I actually have a whole module dedicated to, how to protect your energy while you sleep in the energy protection course I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit later today. Because the truth is that opening up our energy before working with others, if we aren't taking these extra steps to protect and guard that energy as well, creates an openness to more energetic attack from those opportunistic energy vampires. And Soul says, I don't understand though. Aren't we all intimately one being? Is there anything that anyone can do to us that is not a reflection of something already in us? And Soul, I totally go into this in my chapters about unraveling curses in my course because there are a lot of lessons. There are reasons that these lessons come to us. And once we learn a little bit more about why they come to us, we can unravel them and like literally step into the next level of our strength that comes as a result of these lessons. So, in a way, I do believe that, we are all part of like an infinite one consciousness, but we choose our lessons through the, light and dark and the manifestation of duality. And Janir says, I've had the paralysis thing. I didn't know that. And I've had this presentation before. And I've had a lot of people contact me about that. And we've done some spirit polling to say the least. But not to scare anyone for this presentation. I'm just really trying to bring to light how important it really is to protect our energy, especially when we meditate and when we're sleeping. So, there you have it. We've gone through all of these damaging myths and we've debunked them once and for all. And so now I would like to take a moment to center our energy and move into an experiential where we can learn one of the tools and one of my favorite ones to really grounding in and protecting your energy. So I'm just going to ask that everyone just kind of like shake off all that information, right? We've been like very much in our heads. So I just want you to find a really comfortable place in your chair. Maybe you can lie down and just take a deep breath in and out. Just letting some of that information settle. We're doing a great job here. And yeah, just taking a moment to honor what's come up and just center that with our breath. And releasing that breath. And now I want you to imagine that as you continue to breathe, that you have roots that are coming from the soles of your feet and roots emerging all the way down into the earth. You can even imagine this if you're in a building, that the roots are going down through several different layers and floors in the building, all the way down through the concrete and into the ground, into the rich soil. And just allowing all of that, all of those, roots just really strengthening and moving and connecting you down into the center of the earth as you begin to imagine this hot magma core at the very center that's just filled with infinite power, heat, and energy. And as you begin to feel that energy from the earth, I want you to draw it up through those roots with your breath, just imagining it moving all the way up, up, up through those layers of sediment, through those roots, like a bright, shiny orb of light, of power from that magma center that moves through the roots and all the way up through the soles of your feet and through your legs, bringing its brightness all the way up, up, up into your root chakra, the base of your spine, the base of your pelvis, and just imagining that that bright light is beginning to purify and just remove any negative debris that you might have picked up in your root chakra. And just imagining that the energy center is just being filled with light. And anything that's blocking you or does not belong in your root, which is often related to our sense of belonging, the sense of us feeling like we're grounded and protected and have home. And I just want you to imagine that anything that's blocking that flow of energy into your root is just releasing into that magma little orb that's coming to assist. And as it begins to clean your root chakra begins to illuminate and begins to move and spin. And as it spins, it begins to open like a beautiful flower, its petals opening up, revealing this beautiful red flower. And as you breathe into your root, as it opens and it spins, I want you to imagine that that little orb of magma core from the center of the earth is now moving up into your belly, into your womb space if you identify as female, and just brightening up your sacral chakra, which is in tune with our emotions, our feelings. This is the part of our body that is connected to how we creatively express ourselves, what we are creating in this world. And I want you to imagine that any gunk or anything that no longer serves is just being swallowed up by that really happy magma core bubble that's assisting you in just cleaning up the sacral chakra, lifting out any heaviness and allowing your chakra to begin to spin in a healthy way that's filled with light. And as the layers lift off, you see that this sacral chakra begins to open up like a beautiful orange flower. Open and glowing and ready to allow your emotions and your expression to flow. And as you begin to feel those beautiful vibes open up your sacral chakra, I want you to imagine that that orb of light continues to climb up through your body into the center of your solar plexus, the base of your rib cage. And I want you to imagine that any blocks to you being in your personal power, maybe you even giving away your power to other people, that all of a sudden your energy is being restored. And any blocks, anything that you may have taken on from other people, or maybe where you've been blocked from stepping into your power, all of that is beginning to lift. Almost like that magma core bubble is just like nom, 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 eating all that junk up and just releasing you from any blockages in your solar plexus. And as it begins to clear, you notice that your energy is beginning to open up like a beautiful flower and spinning and shining. It's a beautiful golden light, allowing you to step even more fully into your personal power. And as that begins to open up for you, I want you to imagine that that magma core begins to move all the way up into your heart space. And any heartache or sadness or disappointment or any heaviness, and even like the woes and the worries of the people that you love are just being nom, 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 just eaten up by that little magma bubble core that's beginning to just really release and liberate your heart, so that it can be alive with love for yourself and for those around you in a really good way. Just lifting off any of those layers that are blocking you from opening up to greater potential and love with self and with others. And you begin to see this heart chakra lighten up and begin to spin and open like this beautiful exotic green flower. The beauty of your heart as it begins to open. And then that magma core begins to move all the way up to your throat. and begins to just suck in any energy that's blocking you, any old vibrations of being afraid to step into expressing yourself in all of the ways. All begins to be pulled like a little vortex into that hot magma core that begins to liberate your throat and open up your throat chakra to its beautiful divine spinning frequency, seeing this beautiful blue flower begin to open up as your throat chakra opens with light. And allowing that magma core just to mosey on up into your third eye, that space between your eyes and the center of your forehead where your pineal gland exists, that allows you to connect in with your visioning, your intuition, your ability to see what can be possible. And all of that begins to be absorbed, anything that no longer serves, that's blocking you from really stepping into visioning for yourself and taking your visioning to the next level. And all just begins to be relieved and released into that beautiful hot magma core that begins to just scrub away anything that blocks you from really stepping into seeing. And all of a sudden you notice that your third eye chakra begins to spin, and this beautiful little blue flower comes out, shining its light, opening up its petals towards the sun as that hot magma core begins to float all the way up to the top of your head and your crown chakra, opening up a beautiful flower as it begins to release all the junk that has been blocking you from your connection with your higher self and with the divine, as that beautiful purple flower begins to open up wide, allowing light to pour into that space, feeling the connection with your higher self, and just seeing that flower open to the light. And so now just for a moment, I want you to open your eyes and be present with how you feel. And you're welcome to share anything that's coming up for you now, although we are going to do an exercise next where we close down the chakras. So just be present with how you're feeling and take notice, because we're going to see how it shifts once we begin to protect our energy. So I want you to imagine now that that hot magma core is coming back. Maybe it took a little break lifting above your head, and now it's coming back to your crown chakra. And as it begins to illuminate this beautiful flower that's opened up, it begins to allow the petals to close as that flower begins to close up and the spinning just slows. And you imagine that this magma core begins to create a little energetic protection bubble around your crown, so that not just anything can come through your crown, and just allowing it to rest and feel protected, still clean and beautiful and vibrant, but now with an extra layer around it. And that magma core begins to move down to your third eye, and it begins to do the same, allowing the beautiful little blue flower to close its petals and contain its light, and that little energetic protection bubble starts to form around, assisting you in just containing that energy that's, now high vibe, beautiful, shining, clean, and protected. As the magma core floats down to your throat, allowing the petals to close and a beautiful protective orb coming around it to protect your voice and your expression. And it moves down to your heart, and it begins to close up those petals, allowing your heart to contain its energy and feel protected with that orb of energy that begins to encompass your heart and keep it safe. As the magma core begins to move down to your solar plexus, allowing those petals of that beautiful yellow flower to close and to slow, and to have a little energetic bubble of protection around it, so you can hold your power and keep it safe inside. As your sacrum, your sacral chakra begins to close and slow and be contained with that beautiful little bubble of energetic protection that's now around it. As you also begin to feel your root as the flower begins to close and slow, and your energy gets a little bubble of protection around it so that you can feel grounded and safe and unaffected by whatever happens around you, even if what happens doesn't feel so grounding. So it's not such a shock to your root. And while you're at it, just asking that magma core to just put a bubble of protection around your whole body and your whole little auric field, like a big egg, like you're living in an egg that is filled with energetic protection and those beautiful vibes from the earth. Taking a deep breath in and out, I invite you to come back to this space in this time of now and just notice how you feel. I'm wondering if you feel any differently than you did when we first opened up those chakras before we closed them. And I'd love to hear from you in the chat box what your experience was. I know for me, every time I do this exercise, I feel so wide open and expansive, especially by the time that little cleaning energy comes to my crown. I feel like I have an antenna that could channel the universe, and just I feel like it stretches out through the windows in my apartment, and I can feel all of the things happening in Brooklyn. And I know that once I begin to close that energy, I feel like there's a calm and a peace that is much more still and grounding. Yeah, and Janira says she feels warm and settled, grounded in her body. Is there anyone else that wants to share what their vision was in this meditation? Yeah, this is an exercise that I typically do in groups live, and I found that when we do the first part of the exercise, I'll have people talk to one another, and then we'll do the closing of the chakras, and then I'll have them engage in conversation again. And the feedback I've gotten from that exercise in person is that they feel like they feel everything that the person's sharing with them, and it feels really intense coming into their field. And once they close their chakras, they feel like they're able to be in tune with what that person's saying, very empathic, but they don't feel like they're taking the energy of that person's share on. William says much more grounded. Jonathan says quiet in the mind and calm in the body. Lisa says so calming, thank you. Saul says my body is buzzing and anchored simultaneously. Oh, so I love that, buzzing and anchored. Yeah, that's the vibe that we're going for. So, I want to say thank you so much for doing this experiential with me. I know that I feel really good now and happy to take that little break during this presentation to just tap in. So as we begin to shift out of the experiential, I want to ask you the question about, so how would you feel if you weren't being pulled in a million directions by other people's energy? Now that you feel more grounded and excited and protected, how would that feel if you weren't always being pulled? Right? And, what if you didn't have to feel drained and unenthused after helping people all day? People are in helping professions that varies. Like that can mean that you are, working in a hospital, that you're working with clients all day. That can mean that you're in an office and you're just, assisting your coworkers and employees and working as a team. And, even just that kind of connection can be really draining depending on who you're working with and how you feel in your energy. And so, I want to ask, what would it feel like if you didn't have to carry everyone else's burdens? Like, what would it feel like if you literally didn't have to be pulling a rock of energy uphill for everyone else in your life? And I want you to imagine what it would be like if you could feel more grounded and more confident in your power and more optimistic and energized. That'd be great, right? Tell me how great it would be. Janira says amazing, freeing. Yes, right? Because you learn that like you don't have to drag everyone else's shit around with you. So, and Lisa says calm, free, and present. Yeah, right? That would be a great feeling. And I'd like to feel like that all the time. I kind of actually do after I've been using these techniques. And I'm going to now tell you a little bit more about how you can also do that through this course that I put together on how to protect your energy. Because in this course, I teach you exactly how to clear out the negative energies and the pesky cords that you may have knowingly or unknowingly picked up from other people, and even the energies that you've taken on when you were a kid, right? When we're young, when we don't know any better, when we just empathically absorb like our mother's stress or our father's challenges. And I'm also going to show you in this course how to protect and shield your energy from hungry ghosts and energetic vampires, the living and the dead. Sometimes it's more the living. But I not only share with you the tools that I personally use to protect my energy, I also show you how to divine your own that specifically work with your own unique energetic makeup. Because it's not just about trusting me, right? It's about trusting yourself and trusting your guides and your own innate wisdom. And I'm going to show you exactly how to access all of that information in detailed step-by-step instructions. In how to protect your energy, I go into advanced strategies for deeper clearing, space gridding, and protection stones. I even go as far as to show you how to gain access to your Akashic records, break curses, and heal difficult soul contracts with the most challenging people in your life. In this course, you'll get lifetime access to the 16 training videos, 10 meditations, 7 journeys, 7 protection rituals, 5 guided energy exercises, and 21 written tutorials. Plus, for a limited time, you'll also get my easy-to-use space clearing ritual for chasing out negative energy in any space in under an hour. You'll have lifetime access to all of these incredible training sessions forever. So literally, if you wake up one night with night paralysis from a bad dream, or you have some weird energy challenge with a needy loved one, you'll have all the tools you need to master those energies right at your fingertips. So, if that sounds good to you, and if you're ready to take action and really step into the next level of who you are, I'd really like to invite you to this How to Protect Your Energy course. Energetic healing for the empath and energetically human sensitive, where I'm really going to be teaching you all those steps to really step into the next level of your evolution and to thrive. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the value of the course. In today's day and age, numbers are kind of important. So I just wanted to break it down to what the value of this course is, and then share with you how much of a deal that I really want to give to you today, because I do want to make this affordable. But when I break it down to what I charge for my time in personal sessions or my classes, we start to look at like some pretty big numbers, because there's an hour of video lectures that are broken down into 11 modules, because I really want to give you bite-sized pieces of information and then go into the experientials, because that's where I find you're going to be learning the most. When you're experiencing it yourself and getting that firsthand knowledge that's really coming from your innate wisdom and from all of your guides. And so when we break that down, that's over $1,000 just for the 7 hours of experiential exercises, another $150 for the video lectures. And then, like I said, today I'm actually going to be giving you a bonus for being here for live, and that's the space clearing bonus, which is it's an audio healing that works for your physical space. So it clears out energies that have accumulated, any like ghosts or vibrations from an argument or a fight. And it works not only on the room that you're in, it works on all of the rooms in the building and on the land that you live on, particularly to do soul retrieval for the spirit of the land, to bring back an even more wonderful high vibe to your space. And so when we start to look at the total value of all of these things that I'm going to be giving you today, it's, it adds up to about $1,297. But, I don't want to charge that much for these tools, because I really do want to make them affordable, and because I really do want to set you up for energetic success and, make these available to you. I usually am going to be charging $597 for this, but because I'm so excited that you're here on this presentation today, I'm not going to charge you that. Like, that's just not what's going to happen, because I really want to give you this gift. And so today I'm going to be giving you a wonderful discount of $197, including that space clearing exercise that's typically, $97 in itself. So, I want to invite you to sign up now. I'm going to actually open up the offer that I have for anyone who's interested in jumping into that now. And again, I just want to remind you that I am throwing in my space clearing ritual, which I have on sale for my site. And I've had a lot of people use this space, and it's cleared out like hungry ghosts from like really old buildings. And I know that it's definitely helped clear my space. And I've been using this, and people have been having really great results. And I also just want to say, like, there's no risk involved in this, because I do really believe in this program so strongly that if you don't like it after using it for 2 weeks, I'm going to give you a full refund because I really want you to feel protected and feel like this is helping you and protecting your money too, because that's also a form of your energy, right? So if you don't like it, there's, money back guarantee. And so, I also want to address some of the concerns that still come up because I find that when we're about to step through into a breakthrough of our next level of our own personal evolution, that's when all of like the deep, dark, scary things in us come up to try to block us and bring up excuses. So instead of just allowing those, those shadow aspects of ourselves or our inner demons to come up and, cause you to maybe choose fear instead of choosing empowerment, I just want to like point my loving finger at those things as they come up and talk about some of the challenges that typically come up for people. Because again, this is important for you to step into the next evolution of your energy. So, just to address some of those things, sometimes it's all about, not having the time, right? And, the great thing about this particular course is that it is broken down into bite-sized pieces of information. So you can really digest as much or as little as you want in one sitting. And it's really based on your own schedule, especially if something comes up in your life and you're like, oh, wow, I really need to clear this. You can just go into it because you're going to have lifetime access to this. It's not like a, 2-week thing and then it's over. You're going to have this lifetime access, and it's only going to take like 5, 10, 20 minutes a day, depending on how much you want to absorb, to begin to put these activities and these exercises into practice. And they're going to help you to feel even more positive and refreshed. And I think that that's worth it, making 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's like, you can literally take that exercise into the shower, into the bathroom with you, things that you're going to be doing anyway. I do a lot of these exercises while I'm on the train or while I'm walking. So once you learn them, it's really about just adapting them in, and they can, adapt in flawlessly. And, I also want to talk about, the words I can and I can't, because that comes up a lot of like, oh, well, I can't access my guides. I can't do all of those things. And, whatever you're telling yourself is going to end up being your truth. Right? Henry Ford does say, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So I just really want to bring your awareness to like, what are you telling yourself? Like, oh, I can do this, or no, this is too hard. I'll never be able to do it. Because, really everything I've learned in my energetic protection course, I've learned through my own challenging life experiences and through my guides. And these are all the things I already went through, the hard part, so that you hopefully don't have to go through that yourself. And I'm just boiling it down to the easy and, best exercises. And, this will take you a fraction of the time that took me to come up with these, to just dive into them yourself. And this program is really perfect for you if you think that you can't. And that's because I'm literally going to be breaking down exactly how you connect in with your guides. That's exactly what this course is about. You're going to learn how to meet your guides. I'm going to teach you how to cut cords. I'm going to teach you how to access your Akashic records. So not only can you access information about like difficult connections between people, but also, about your life purpose. I give you these tools that are really invaluable. And I teach you how to rewrite these soul contracts with difficult people and clear your space in yourself. So, I make it all as fun, as engaging as possible, because it's all about being open-minded and playful. And that's when you tend to learn the most. So, and a lot of the things that might come up is another thing that may be blocking you is that idea about like, oh, I just don't have any money, right? Like, wow, I'm broke, right? And oftentimes I find that if the question's about money, it's not really about money, because really before you're able to like commit to yourself, you need to be able to like see what is of value to you and start to look at like, where are you letting people drain your energy and your power? Because it's, the universe doesn't want you to be in unhealthy relationships. I really believe that the universe wants you to be able to thrive. And I don't think that thriving is about remaining in toxic dynamics and relationships or treading water in life that feels draining. So I'm going to ask you, like, when is enough for you? And how much of these energetic vampires do you need, and these draining experiences in your life do you need to be able to decide to commit to yourself? Because, if you're on this webinar, I know that you really want to help people. And that can mean that you show up for other people in ways financially, or you show up in other ways for people to, share your tools and your experiences in the light of who you are. But I want to bring it back to like, how much do you love and value yourself? And how much are you supporting yourself before you support others? Because it really does become about, how much are you willing to give other people your energy? And how much are you willing to commit to yourself? And this is not a huge investment. I mean, maybe that means essentially not eating out for a week, or maybe that means that you're just going to work a couple extra shifts. But how much time and energy do you give to other people versus nourishing yourself? And, how much would that be worth to you to literally have that much energy to be able to go back into life and literally have more energy to work more if you want, have more energy to do the things that you want that are being, sort of drained from you when you're not able to really step into your highest vibration of power. So, with that being said, and looking at some of the blocks, I do want to remind you that this program is really about recharging your wellspring of energy to get you to a place that you feel tapped in and secure and filled with the energy of source, so that you can really be the best and most energized version of yourself that you can be in all of the work you do. And so, as a result, this program is going to help you feel even more empowered and protected, to give you a solid foundation, to feel clear headed, passionate, excited, and re inspired, and ready to step out into your life as a healer or just as an awesome person in a completely refreshed way. So again, if that all sounds like a hell yeah, I want to step into my next version of self and I want to learn how to protect my energy and step into the best vibe I can, I really do invite you to join into this program today. And I have the link up there. So feel free to, jump in and take advantage of this amazing offer, because again, I usually charge $597 for this, and I'm giving it away to you with one of my favorite space clearing exercises for $197. So, I really welcome you to step into this next level of yourself. And as I begin to close this presentation, I would love to open up the chat box to see if there's any questions about this, or if there's anything that's come up for anyone that they want to just take a moment to ask before we end today's presentation. Yeah, and I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for showing up for yourself today, and for showing up to learn about some of those misconceptions that you might have had, that now you can step into life in a more empowered way with all of this new information and some of these tools about how to open and then close and protect your chakras, and how you can be using even just the exercises that we talked about today to help you ground in and step into the next best version of yourself. So, is there anyone that has any questions or anything that they want to share before we end for today? William says, loved it. Well done. Gotta run, but I'll be in touch later. Awesome. Thank you, William. And any questions about the program? I'm happy to answer any questions about it. Janir says, firstly, this is super eye-opening and helpful, so thank you. Also, you may have said this, but is the self-study at your own pace? Yes, it is. So a little bit about it is that I really want to give you all the tools at once, because I know that some people need different things at different times. So instead of dripping the content, I actually make it all accessible to you. So if you feel drawn to doing a particular exercise, I actually go through specific full moon and new moon rituals that you can do to release energy. So if you feel like, oh, the new moon's coming up, I really want to work on clearing my energy in that particular way, I give you so many different tools that you really can jump in where you feel like it's most needed. And I did that because I know that when I had that curse put on me, the last thing I wanted to do was wait several weeks until I could learn how to lift it. And so I wanted to make all of these tools accessible to you immediately, because I feel like it's really important to have all access as soon as you need it. Yeah, and Kelsey says, thank you. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Kelsey. So glad you were here. Yeah, and thank you for everyone who showed up for yourself today. I'm so happy to have had you in this presentation. So with that being said, if there's no more questions, I would love to send you off with many protective blessings and hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in my program soon. All right. Mwah. Big hugs and kisses.